What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Arsenal Career Mode. This is episode number 5, and we are starting today's episode with the first scout report of the Youth Academy. Then, of course, I did eventually send my Youth Scout out to England for 9 months to look for some technically gifted players in the hope that he does come back with a few good players. But, as always, Youth Scout reports always letting us down and not being good enough. So enough of that, going into the first game of today's episode, taking on Everton here away at Goodison Park. You would see that we got off to a magnificent start through the man that is on form at the minute. It's Thomas Partey. Yeah, the power shot coming in OP there, and then you would see that we would try ahead and get our second in the half-hour mark, and we did. Bukayo Saka goes ahead and gets our second. Of course, he's in tremendous form at the minute, and I've got to say, this team, we are really kicking on now, and it's really nice to see. I'm getting used to the game, I'm getting used to the team. I've got used to the new meta in FIFA 23, and if you haven't, well, I'm not going to spoil it for you. I need to let you work that out for yourself. So, going into the latter stages of the first half then, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, the Evertonian, would go ahead and get their side back into the game. So 2-1 at half-time. Not the worst result. We're leading. We've still got a lead. We've still got a firm grip on the game. Just a bit of poor defending once again. And I think in January, because we're not far from that now, I think in January I'm really going to look and shape up that defence. Now, we all know in January players are going to be leaving. Players are going to be sold. Whether you guys agree with the signings and the players out, of course, we are looking at potential deals already, but that will come later on in the episode of potential people that are going out of the club. But going into the latter stages of this game then against Everton away at Goodison Park, we got our third goal, and from then on it was just all us in control. But Everton, they got the ball back in the final stages of the game, 3 minutes before the 90-minute mark, and it would be that man again, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, a potential striker option for us one day. Who knows? Who knows what Arsenal are going to be looking at in the future. Now, of course, we all know Richarlison, the former Everton man, he went to Tottenham. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, could he be moving to another English club soon? Well, I'd like to think he wouldn't be, because he's very loyal to Everton, and Everton have served him so well over the few years. Apart from his injuries, he's been one of their best players. So again, what would you expect from a person that he's been at Everton nearly his whole career, and he's been offered games and he's got goals in that? So looking at the Premier League table then, before we go into our second game, we're currently sitting third, and from where we were, that's a massive achievement. That's a massive climb up on the table. But you would see that we were taking on top of the table Liverpool. Now, going back to what I said in that Everton game of potential players going out of the club, you would see there that we would go ahead and confirm the deal with Newcastle United for Mohamed El Neni. Now, El Neni, he's 31 years old. He's not going to get that much game time ahead of the likes of Granit Xhaka, Thomas Partey, Sambi Lokonga, Fabio Vieira, Martin Odegaard. So there's no point in him keeping on the reserves and therefore making him unhappy. So therefore we decided to part ways with Mohamed El Neni, and he's now going off to Newcastle for about £5.5 million. So yeah, not the most outrageous deal of money, but again, it's another player out. It reduces the wage bill just that little bit more, and it offers us some more doors for January when we look for some more signings. So as you would see in this one then, back at home at the Emirates, off the back of a 3-2 victory against Everton, we're now taking on the other side of Merseyside. It's Liverpool at the Emirates, and you would see here we were bossing the game. We were absolutely in control. We were 2-0 up just past the half-hour mark, but another silly mistake from our defence, and it costs us a goal once again. This time it was Gabriel that not only gave away a penalty, but got himself sent off as well. So not only were we leading the game, and not only were we in trouble for the rest of the game, but we were in trouble because we were down to 10 men. Now, Gabriel, we know he's got a few mistakes in his locker. We know that he's going to make mistakes. Saliba's going to make mistakes. Everyone's going to make mistakes in the team. But Gabriel, he's been making too many at the minute. And I've got to say, I'm not a big fan of his mistakes. Now, I'm not going to drop him. I'm not going to say, well, Gabriel, you dropped because you're making too many mistakes. But I just want Gabriel to know that sitting on the bench, you've got players like Rob Holding. You've got players like Ben White. You've got good players, decent backup players. And if someone's not pulling their weight, they are going to get dropped and put on the bench. So, as you would see then, Liverpool kept coming forwards. We couldn't stop them. And the devastating part about this game was we kept the lead for the majority of the second half. And then it got clinched away from us at the last little bit. So Diogo Jota, the man that loves a goal against Arsenal, honestly, that guy owns Arsenal whenever he plays against us. Diogo Jota goes ahead and gets a point from that game, and I've got to say it's frustrating because we had our own chances but we just weren't clinical enough, and it's just that little bit of a reminder of what we were like at the beginning of the season when we just weren't clinical. We weren't clinical, we weren't getting points, and I don't want that to distract us. I don't want that result against Liverpool to distract us from anything. We're still on good form, we're still chasing the top four, we're still around 5th, so it's not too bad. But again, we all know one little tiny knock of a result can change a mindset very easily. But as you would see then, enough of the Liverpool result. Devastating to see that 1-1, but that 2-2, sorry. But sometimes that's the way football works. It's going to be devastating, it's going to be upsetting, but you just got to get on with it like a team. So, going into the penultimate game of today's episode, we're back in the Europa League. It's match day 3. We're officially halfway through our Europa League group stage. Now, taking on Bodo Glimt here, away from home. I've got to say, Bodo Glimt, they're not looking too good, are they, in this opening season of the Europa League? I've got to say, they are rock bottom of the Europa League group with 0 points and a minus goal difference. It's really not looking good, is it? So, taking on Bodo Glimt here, we got an early goal through Eddie Nketiah, and then you would see Eddie Nketiah went ahead and got his second, but not only his second, our second of the game as well. So 2-0 up going into the half-time break. Eddie Nketiah with a brace already, and I've got to say, that guy, he's proving me wrong. He's proving me wrong. Personally, I didn't think Eddie Nketiah would score as many goals as Jesus this season, but it works out that they're quite equal already. So again, it's a difficult position to be in. If you're Mikel Arteta, or if you're me in this game at the minute, then you've got to decide between one of them. You've got to decide who's going to be your starting Premier League striker and who's going to be your Cup/European striker as well. Because you don't want one striker playing all the time, getting overused, getting injured, and then have no one there as backup. So Eddie Nketiah, yeah, not really having the best start to this second half. Couldn't get his hat-trick early on, but I tell you what did happen. Bodo Glimt got back into the game. Well, I said to Bodo Glimt, well, you're not getting back into this one because we're going to go and score another goal. And who scored that other goal? It's a beautiful finesse shot from Gabriel Martinelli, who's really kicked on in this opening part of the season. Really been impressed with Gabriel Martinelli. However, Bodo Glimt would go ahead and get their second to make it 3-2. So Bodo Glimt, they were still in this one, not taking anything away from them, still giving them a good game, but you would see that they were still trying to attack forwards, but the problem was they were playing a really high line. So the problem with a high line is that it's easy to get countered. Well, Nketiah, running through on goal, slips it into Fabio Vieira. Fabio Vieira makes it 4-2 to the Arsenal, and that's surely the points wrapped up, and surely us looking for qualification to the next round of the Europa League. Well, Bodo Glimt had other options or other ideas. A little bit of a lucky goal here to make it 4-3. Bodo Glimt, they gave us a good game. However, full time and it ended. Bodo Glimt 3, Arsenal 4 in a 7-goal thriller at the Emirates. Well, it wasn't at the Emirates, was it? It was away from home. So, yeah, looking at the positives of that game, we won, we scored goals, and we didn't take our foot off the gas pedal. The negatives, we're still conceding way too many goals. We're still conceding far too many silly little goals. Some of them goals from Bodo Glimt, they should have been stopped. Aaron Ramsdale, again, he should have saved a few. He's been a bit off the gas pedal lately, been letting in too many goals. But again, when we need to call upon him, he's there. But guys, if you did enjoy today's episode, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys for the next one very soon. Enjoy. Peace out. Bye for now.